Let's get sweaty.
Hey guys, welcome to a Shenmue Dojo video. I often get asked by friends, family, whoever about Shenmue and what I like about it so much. And probably one of the biggest aspects of Shenmue is the world. The world building in that game, even now, is, in my view, unrivaled. It's superb, it's living, it's breathing. And back in the day, back in 1998, 1999, 2000, it was unheard of. That sort of detail was completely unheard of. But away from all of that a little bit, away from all the groundbreaking tech and everything that's in there, coming at it from as a young person at the time who had very limited exposure to other cultures, this was my first experience with Asian culture or Japanese culture, and was an experience into essentially a whole new world, culture, people, place, etc., which also resonated outside of the main Shenmue story. So what I want to talk a little bit about today is how that world resonated and why it resonated so much with me when I first played it, and why it still holds the value that it does even to this day. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the town and the setting of Dobuita. I'm going to talk about a bit about people, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about the music. I think the music probably sells itself, for want of a better expression, but it's still imperatively important to the overall feel of the game itself. And just as a sort of a caveat, I guess, I'm coming at this as somebody who obviously lives in the West, who will have a very different perspective to this, who somebody is, lived in Japan and picked this up for the first time. And I'd be very interested to hear what other people's experiences are around the world of Shenmue, and quite why it's as impactful as it was, is, and currently will always be. I'm not going to go into Shenmue 2 or 3. I might do those separately. This is very much a focus on Shenmue 1. So let's dive into the setting. As we all know, Shenmue is set in a very small little area of Yokohama, Yokosuka, and you end up in Dobuita, which is obviously the main sort of shopping street there, obviously based on a real location. There's been many pilgrimages there. Go and check those videos out if you haven't done so already. Lots of Shenmue fans have been out there and done them. But what resonates massively is it's set in a small Japanese town, suburb, whatever you want to call it. Everything there has its place. Everything's there with a purpose. It feels like it was built for a home. It feels homely. Obviously, it's relatively accurate to real life. Obviously, they've taken some liberties there, but it feels accurate to real life Dobuita if you look at the screenshots and then you look at the real life place. It's not too dissimilar. If you think about the anime sort of as a side point, it's not far off one-to-one. So there's a massive sense of this is built on a real place and has a real feel to it. Not only that, it has this feel of hustle and bustle about it. When you think of small suburb towns, whatever, they all have a character, they all have a personality, they all have hustle and bustle about them. And Dobuita and all the surrounding areas in Shenmue aren't no different. But the thing is, here, through a game, you can feel that and get lost in that. You can get lost in the hustle and bustle of the day-to-day life that's running within that game. You can follow the NPCs around. You can go in and out of all the shops that you want to. You can explore to your heart's content. It was, and still is, the first real sort of free experience in terms of open world. Yes, there were other games that had open world, but Shenmue was the first one to really sort of drill into that AAA thought, detail, atmosphere that games have today. It pretty much, in my mind, was the first what I'd call modern day AAA title, coming back 25 years now. So that's that hustle and bustle. It makes the place feel alive. You get lost in it. You get lost in the people. You get lost in the sounds, the sights of Dobuita, of Yamanose, of Sakuragaoka. Everywhere you get lost in it. Not only that, there's this other thing that they do, or other things that they do at certain times of the year. At Christmas, they decorate it. They didn't need to do this, but they decorate the town. So you see all the Christmas decorations up as you walk through. You see Santa walking through the street. Now, Santa's a bit of a meme in himself, I guess. But it, again, adds to that atmosphere, adds to that feel. It adds to that sense of world building, which games sometimes struggle to do even today with better technology. Not only you get New Year as well, where the NPCs change to kimonos, the decorations change, and you come into spring, and again it changes once again. They have those little traditional things that just make it come alive. And there's the small things here as well. When you go into shops, like you can see the steam of in the restaurant when somebody's cooking. They don't need to do that, but they did do it anyway. There's people in there eating. You've got the jackets lying out the shops as you're walking past. The arcade, you can hear the hustle and bustle of the machines as you walk past the arcade, as you walk into the arcade. As you go past the fishmongers, the butcher, the meat's laid out there, you can see all of that. And while it sounds really silly to a lot of people, it means that world just comes alive and that you can engross yourself in what is a fantastically built, put together world with an atmosphere that I think is unrivaled. On top of that, it's the people. Now, Shenmue, for want of a better expression, is memed in some respects in terms of some of the sort of dialogue translations and everything. I completely accept that. But I'm not interested in that so much. I'm more interested in the NPCs. So they all have their own schedules. So they go to work, they come home, all this, that and the other. So again, it adds to that atmosphere. It adds to that feel. Not only that, a lot of them know Ryo anyway because it's his home. So he is familiar with them. They react to him in a friendly way, in a manner that clearly dictates a relationship. Not all of them. Some of them will tell him to politely go away. They don't have time to talk to him. Or words to that effect. But most of them know him. So again, it translates to the player this sense of familiarity, this sense of feeling at home. But also, it gives you a sense and a dive into some of the cultural things that are in Japan. Talking about New Year and the kimonos and the shrines. You get all of that feel through the interactions and the setting that you're in with those NPCs. And all these little contributions they add in their own little way, be it advising Ryo, talking about events coming up, talking about the town, talking about their own problems, whatever it is, it builds a world that you can lose yourself in, a world that you can sit there and just engross yourself. That's what it does. On top of the fact there's some really iconic characters in Shenmue. Obviously, you've got Tom, Goro, as some really sort of iconic, sort of not lesser known NPCs, but sort of B characters, I guess, for want of a better expression. And then you've got other NPCs like Mario from Bob's Pizza, who has a really distinctive personality. You've got so many of those within Shenmue that just add to this flavour and rich variety of characters, places, people that you go to, and that world that you end up engrossing yourself in. On top of that comes the music. Now, Shenmue's music is, and it's been in the Classic FM Hall of Fame and still is standout to this day. Many games get music right. Shenmue really got it right. It changes with the tone of the game, with the progression of the games. You can feel those tonal shifts. But not only that, when you're walking around, it conveys the message, it conveys the feel of the world that you are in at that time. So you can feel that snow falling, you can feel that cold, you can feel the rain, you can feel all of that tonal shift within the game because of the music. The free music is elegantly placed, it's not overwhelming, but it's there. And without it, the world just loses a little bit of that edge. It loses something that it was almost the cherry on the top of the cake. But also, I'm going to talk a little bit about the weather system here. Now, weather systems in games now are massively common. They're there a lot. People enjoy them. Shenmue's weather system, obviously, we know it's got its own system in there, but there's also data based from 1986, which is actually, you can use that data once you completed Shenmue for the first time. It gives you the option to go through Shenmue weather or actual real life weather, which again they didn't need to do, but they did anyway. But the weather here and the feel and the look of the environment when it is in different types of weather again adds to that feel of the world. So when it snows, you can see that all the roads have snow on them. It's not like blanket snow like in some of the trailers. For whatever reason, they couldn't do that, performance issues, whatever. But you can see the drifts of snow at the edge of roads that you walk through, and you get that satisfying crunch of the snow when you walk through. When the weather changes, it becomes slush. You can hear that slushy sound as you're walking through it. When it rains, you can hear the rain on the buildings. You can see the rain sort of flowing off the ground. You can feel that dampness from the look of the game. And also, I think the colour changes ever so slightly, or certainly to my eye. It may not in actual reality, but to my eye, you can see the dampness from within, from the rain. And then when it's sunny, you can see that bright sunshine and that AM2 Sega blue sky, which they were famous for back in the 80s and 90s. And you can see that up above with all the buildings and everything around it. And it just makes for a really well put together world. It's almost like a perfect storm. All those elements together just give you a world that you can lose yourself in. Now, for a lot of gamers, and this is sort of coming on to my final thoughts on this, I guess, a lot of gamers aren't interested in that, and that's fine. I get that, because I play many games where I'm just interested in playing for an hour, shooting something, playing whatever, and just having a good time. And that's great, and that's one element of gaming. But another element of gaming for me is just having the time and the space to sit down and lose yourself in something, a world, a story, whatever, that gives you the time to relax, enjoy yourself, whatever. People do it to films and TV, etc. Gaming is where I do it. And Shenmue is one of those games, probably one of the best games at just allowing me to lose myself and go, right, let's enjoy the world, let's enjoy what I'm doing, and just relax. And certainly back in 2000, 2001, when I played it for the first time, that meant even more at the time, with some personal issues going on within my family. And it just meant that just resonated even more and felt like I had a real escape. And that's something that I hold dear even to this day. I get gamers aren't always interested in that, and they want their fix of whatever they want to play. I understand that and I get it. But that is why, outside of the story, that Shenmue is so revered, certainly in my eyes at least, and I think a lot of people's eyes who watch this channel. It is revered because it's a place to lose yourself. It feels like it is just a world that you can devour and enjoy. And that is then, as I said, also not really going into the cultural side of things, but it conveys the Japanese culture, the culture of the 80s brilliantly through a video game. And that's why it resonates so much. And that's why Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2, and even Shenmue 3's world, they resonate together. They are perfectly built together to convey that feel, that atmosphere, that sense of belonging, that sense of being there that I think some games struggle to do to this day. But I'm going to leave things there, guys. What for you resonated so much about the first Shenmue game? I am going to talk about the other Shenmue games later on, but what resonated for you about that first Shenmue game and the world that you ended up enjoying so much? And if you're a new Shenmue player, do you get that feeling from it? I'm just interested to know. And drop us a comment, guys, and let us know below. The last thing I've got to do is give our members a shout out, as I do at the end of every video. Just for a couple of quid a month, you get early access to all the videos that I put out outside of the podcasts, and that's also including any other content that James and I are putting out. But everybody who signed up to be a member, thank you very much. There's 27 of you, and thank you for all the enjoying the dojo's content, guys. It means so much to us, and all the money that we get from this goes to running the website, competitions, etc. But for the 27 of you, I will give you your shout outs right now. So Sam, Dominic Johnson, Sam Say, Renners, Richard Cartledge, that's me, Carl, Terry, Stuart Peacock, Mark the Pulverizer, Little Crypty Monster, Titch, Richard King, Sean Potter, Guppy Coy, Bruce Wayne 937, Survival Spears, Peter Hoffland, Sean Don, Wandering Through Shenmue, Phantom Riverstone, Bruce Wayne 911, Mike France, Manny Figueroa, Master Mo, Nick Hughes, Sean Hastings, Clunky Mage, and William Lovering. Thank you for joining the membership and enjoying the content, guys. Thank you everybody who subscribed to this channel and enjoying the Shenmue content. All this Shenmue content that we put out helps keep the franchise alive, helps keep it in people's minds. But don't forget, on the 4th of every month, hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4 over on Twitter and all social media. Fingers crossed, by the time this video goes out, we would have hopefully had a little bit of a special idea that we've put out, and people would have at least got if not a laugh from it, would understand that Shenmue fans are still here and we are still crazy and we are going to push for that 4th game. But for now, guys, give us a like, share, subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the usual channels, and I will be back with another video in the not too distant future. But for now, guys, take care, have a good one.